from US tech straight into open banking. And of course, it's begun its rollout right here in Australia. So to get more thoughts and her views on it and how the rollout is going, we're joined now by Lynda Coker from Seedspace. Hi, Lynda.
Hi, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me in person in the studio too. I'm being so used to doing Zoom conferences, panels, talks.
We've gone backwards and forwards.
Person to person human interaction, so thank you.
Sydney's returning to a little bit of normal. So for people unfamiliar with Seedspace, just tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So Seedspace is a VC. Its whole purpose is to provide seed capital to fintech companies. So predominantly Australian based because they've set up an early stage ESBCLP, which means predominantly that has tax incentives and benefits for Australian investors. However, we already have a portfolio and some of them are not based in Australia. Newly formed, I met the principals a couple of years ago, actually at a conference in Singapore, and we got talking and there's definitely a need, there's a lot of great ideas here, not just in fintech, but in broader tech, and that first kind of external capital raise is really hard. So the whole purpose is to try and deploy seed capital to those companies, and fintech's quite a broad sector anyway.
And well, one of them that you do have, I believe, in the portfolio is Doe, who we've talked to a lot. They've come to the show a lot. And in that fintech space, it's really quite interesting and it is quite evolving, as we mentioned just at the beginning, with open banking. So what are you seeing from your portfolio, certainly as they go into this year, and what do you expect to keep seeing?
Look, it's going to evolve. Obviously, Doe's been in the news quite a bit recently. They obviously listed on the ASX recently. The thesis that Seedspace has, and look, the portfolio, which is on their website already, is quite broad. Like it covers super, wealth, a platform for institutional investors, FX, financial advisors. Like the breadth is really broad. Open banking, or CDR, consumer data right, that we refer to it in Australia, is about empowering, I guess, firstly, retail consumers to sort of access their data and use and reuse it in new ways. So we're only very early days, but you know, there's a plethora of opportunities for that across the whole spectrum, and it's going to very much depend on the way that gets rolled out. But what it's about is actually allowing customers to access their data, and it's hopefully going to improve competition because, well, I think actually one element of it is we need to educate the general public as to what is open banking and CDR, right? People go, what does that mean? So actually, you know, I might want to change my bank, which is typically really hard and painful, or I want to change my utility or a telco or, you know, electricity provider, because actually in Australia we're taking a multi-industry approach. So I can actually ask for my data and actually transfer that data to the new provider, and we're wanting to make that really seamless as possible. So it's a very kind of, it's going to be a phased implementation over some time, and look, there's a lot of debate. There's been a recent submission. I agree with FinTech Australia actually in terms of all their recommendations to the select committee, and it's about open banking should be about being open, right? About being open and extending this across a number of use cases. It should be open about allowing participants to not just sort of the bigger end of town, but your smaller fintechs be able to participate and collaborate. So I think there's an overarching view that let's not lose the vision of Scott Farrell's initial report, right? Let's not try to make it overly complex with a lot of regulation and restrictions. Let's try and strike that balance of promoting flexibility, innovation, competition, with having the appropriate safeguards in place. You know, we don't want, you know, harmful practices around customers sharing data, etc. So it's sort of, it is a hard balance to strike, but that's what we're hopefully going to see as it rolls out.
I think everyone's been learning with CDR along the way, including the ACCC, which was charged with the initial oversight. But that control is about to switch to Treasury.
Correct.
And Treasurer Josh Frydenberg. What are you hearing in the jungle drums from the industry about that? Because when politicians get involved, there's always the opportunity for things to sort of, someone to grab the steering wheel and the car to go in a very different direction to the one everyone thought it was going in.
Look, of course, and look, it's hard. I think, you know, the ACCC obviously just has a competition focus, and this is about competition, but also we don't want just a narrow focus. It needs to be broad. Whether it should sit with Treasury or not, who knows? You've got to try to find the right government body. What FinTech Australia and others have been advocating is sort of having a single data authority or regulator to kind of monitor and oversee sort of the way this is built and rolled out. So Treasury, do I have an issue with it sitting with Treasury? No. If it's managed and governed in an appropriate way, and there's always sort of an issue about government getting involved, but I mean government needs to be involved in terms of this is legislation. This needs to be rolled out industry wide, so it sort of makes sense. And
now, just very quickly, before we let you go, obviously you do give money to new fintechs. Are there any that we can potentially preview early? Are there anything exciting in the pipeline? Look, there is. I don't think deal flow is a problem, actually. It's often a case of sort of having too many companies to take a look at. But I think we're seeing some pretty exciting things in a lot of niche areas, actually sort of in insurance being one, as well as sort of super and wealth, as well as sort of the DOEs and banking as a service platforms that are involved. I mean, my day job is at Bolt, which is at a Neo, obviously. So there's a lot that's happening, and I actually think the exciting thing is that this is happening alongside sort of open banking. And just like one final thing I will say, and again, this is supported by FinTech Australia. I think the real opportunity here for Australia is actually to be a leader in open banking, right? And let's actually engage with the international community and their regulators. And what we really want to see is banking beyond borders ultimately, and data as a asset, and the data economy, and how do we share data across borders as well, right? So we're at the early stages trying to set those protocols, and we've got an opportunity to get it right.
Right, well, Lynda, well, thanks for coming along from your side, Hustle Seed Space.
No. I mean, Jason's also a hard act to follow, but there's a lot going on in the world at the moment. Thank you very much for having me. Okay, bye-bye.